So we've all seen the incredible, just mind-blowing power of generative AI, right? It's changing pretty much everything. But here's the thing. With all that power comes this huge, and I mean huge challenge that we absolutely have to get right. Making sure these amazing tools are actually reliable and, connected to reality.
Okay, listen to this. People can fly given they've adapted their abilities appropriately. Or how about cats can yawn loudly and sometimes speak to scientists?
Yeah, if that sounded a little bizarre, you are not alone. Those are real examples of a generative AI just completely losing touch with reality. That, right there, is what an AI hallucination feels like. And that's exactly what we're going to tackle here, breaking down why this happens and, way more importantly, walking through the practical steps we can take to ground these powerful models in actual facts. So, before we can get to the fixes, we've got to understand the problem itself. Let's dive in to the built-in limitations of these models. Think of it as a quick but necessary reality check. And this is the big one: hallucinations. This is when a model cooks up an answer that sounds completely plausible, totally convincing, but it's just factually wrong, or even complete nonsense. Because the model doesn't have its own internal fact checker, sometimes it just invents things. And that's obviously a massive deal for any application where accuracy is everything. Next up is something called data dependency. Look, a model is only as good as the data you train it on. The source material uses a perfect analogy for this. It's like asking a student to write an essay on a book they've never even read. So if that training data is biased or incomplete, the AI's output is going to be too. It really is that simple: garbage in, garbage out. And then you've got the knowledge cutoff. These AI models, they don't just absorb the daily news automatically. They only know what they were taught up to a specific date. So if a model's knowledge cutoff was back in 2022, it would have absolutely no clue about anything, any event, any discovery that's happened since. And the list of challenges keeps going. Models can accidentally repeat unwanted biases from their training data. Making sure the output is consistently fair, well, that's an incredibly complex job. And finally, you have what are called edge cases, those weird, rare situations that can cause a model to spit out some truly unexpected and wrong results. So yeah, the challenge is pretty clear. All right, so we've laid out the problems. Now let's talk strategy. The very first step towards getting a reliable AI isn't some fancy, complicated technique. It's just about making a smart choice right from the get-go. It's time to pick your player. When you're choosing a model, it's so important to remember that bigger isn't always better. You have to match the tool to the specific task. Ask yourself, am I working with text or images or video? How much info does the model need to remember at one time? What's my budget? How secure does this whole thing need to be? Getting this right at the start will save you so many headaches down the road. And this slide right here does a brilliant job of showing just how specialized these tools can be. Take Gemini. It's built for really complex conversational stuff across all sorts of data. But then you have Gemma, which is more lightweight and perfect for a specific focused job. Need incredible images? That's Imogen's world. Creating video? You've got Veo. It's like having a whole toolbox, each tool designed for a very specific job. Okay, so once you've picked your model, it's time to get our hands dirty and actively make it more reliable. So let's open up the reliability toolkit and check out the powerful techniques we can use to ground our AI in reality. The absolute core concept here is grounding. Seriously, think of it as a reality check or maybe a safety net for the AI. It's the process of connecting or tethering the model's output to specific verifiable sources of information. This anchors the AI's answers in actual facts, and that dramatically reduces the risk of it just making stuff up. So, the big question is, how do we actually do this grounding? Well, one of the most effective ways is a surprisingly simple 3-step process. It's called retrieval augmented generation, or you'll hear it called RAG for short. So how does this whole RAG thing work? It's actually pretty elegant. First, when you ask a question, the system retrieves the relevant info from a trusted source, like your company's internal documents. Second, it augments your original question by adding this new factual context right into the prompt. And finally, the model generates its answer based on this much richer, grounded prompt. See? It's not guessing anymore. It's using the specific facts you just handed it. Now, beyond grounding, there are 2 other key ways to customize. On one side, you've got prompt engineering. This is the quick and easy approach, where you just write really precise instructions to guide the model. On the other side, you have fine-tuning. This is more like a major renovation, where you actually retrain the model on a whole new set of data to teach it a brand new skill or style. But here's the thing. Technology by itself is not the whole answer. There's a final and totally irreplaceable element that guarantees real reliability: the human in the loop. Let's just be really clear about this. For any task that needs subtle judgment, deep context, or has to deal with messy, incomplete data, human intelligence is still absolutely essential. This is where the whole idea of humans in the loop, or HITL, comes into play. It's basically a framework where people and AI work together, with humans providing that critical final oversight. And this partnership, it's not optional in certain areas. I mean, think about content moderation, where context is everything, or sensitive fields like healthcare and finance, where one mistake could have huge consequences. For any high-stakes decision, human review is the vital safeguard. The crucial point isn't about replacing people, it's about creating a powerful partnership between human smarts and AI power. And that really brings us to the main takeaway. Building trustworthy, reliable AI isn't some search for a single, all-powerful supermodel. No, it's about a smart, layered strategy. You have to understand the limits, choose the right tool for the job, ground it in reality, and always, always keep an expert human in the loop. And that leads us to one final thought. If grounding is all about tethering these incredibly powerful systems to a verifiable, factual reality, well, that leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? What's our responsibility in curating, maintaining, and shaping that reality for the AI to learn from? Definitely something to think about.